What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. And in today's video, I wanted to give you guys a quick market update. Unfortunately, I was unable to go live tonight, so I'm going to drop this quick little update for you guys, give you my thoughts on where I think price is going next and what we've seen since our live stream last night. Although nothing's really going on, we're kind of just bing-bonging sideways, but I want to check in on the chart, show you the key levels and where I'll be looking for my next trades. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump on into the charts. Let's get into it. So guys, here we are on the Bitcoin chart, and you can see today, guys, Bitcoin's kind of just chopping around a little bit. But if you guys tuned into the live stream last night, you will know there were a couple of things I was looking for in order to get a little bit more of a push to the upside, and that was the 16-hour green dot printing with our 1-hour money flow crossing over into the green. And you can see we did get that crossover into the green over here on money flow. And we all know when we do have a market cipher B116 strategy with that 16-hour green dot and that 1-hour money flow crossover into the green, we know that it's likely not going to give us an instant rip to the upside, but more than likely it will give us a continuation of the trend. And we did get that money flow crossover, and we are attempting to continue to the upside. It's really going to depend on what happens here. I'm going to cover the longer time frames. I also want to jump into the local time frames with you guys and show you the levels I'm looking at within this choppy area of price and kind of how I'm handling things on the lower time frames. Now, overall, this 1-hour money flow crossover is still technically in play here, guys, but there is another thing popping up on the chart, another thing we were looking at last night, and that is the daily bullish divergence. We saw that this VWAP was going to cross over the zero line and very likely going to print that green dot on market cipher B, giving us that beautiful daily bullish divergence with our lower lows on price action and our higher lows on our momentum waves. And not only do we have this green dot and the bullish divergence, guys, after sweeping a lot of the liquidity down below, more on this in a minute, but once we see that bullish divergence print with this green dot, guys, we're going to shoot right down to that 80 and 90 minute time frame, and we are looking for those money flow crossovers into the green. And just like we were looking for the 16-hour green dot with the 1-hour money flow crossover yesterday, right now, if we are going to continue a move to the upside here, guys, we would hope that that 80-minute money flow crossover will continue into the green, because that is another market cipher B116 strategy following up pretty closely to that 16-hour and 1-hour. And if we could see this money flow cross back over into the green and continue into a bigger green wave, guys, this will also potentially give us a continuation to the upside. Now, I am being a little bit cautious with this, guys, because in this super bearish environment, we have to be really careful with these bullish signals, because oftentimes they are not going to play out as explosively as they would if we were strongly trending up on the higher time frames or if we were just in the middle of a parabolic move. So we do have to take this with a grain of salt. You guys know I am along here in the premium Discord from about $78,800, but more on that in just a minute. I do just want to kind of continue on here with the medium time frame. So we have the daily bullish divergence, the daily green dot. We have the 80-minute money flow looking to cross over into the green, or starting to cross over into the green. And we also have the 90-minute, which is attempting to trend to the upside here, guys. All eyes on the 80 and 90-minute money flow. Now, again, this could potentially show up as a little bit of chop, but overall, we are going to expect the overall trend to continue to the upside if we are looking at this specific signal. Now, we can't forget that we have the 2-day money flow coming out, the 3-day money flow coming out, and all the bearish things that we've been looking at here recently on the channel. But locally here, guys, this is our best bet of getting a continuation to the upside. And also, guys, we are slamming up against a very key level of resistance right now. So let me go ahead and jump on into the lower time frames. But overall, guys, upper range remains exactly the same. Value area low sitting at about $91,000. This is pretty far away at this point, but this is still our biggest level of resistance on the higher time frame. So if the 16-hour, the 12-hour, and the daily bullish divergences with money flow coming up are going to give us a continuation to the upside, the next huge target for me is going to be about 91K. However, we do have to look at the lower time frames, guys, because we do still have a lot of resistance above locally. So like I said, we are tapping up against a very key level of resistance right here. We bearishly retest, got the breakdown, and we have been slamming our head on this resistance. And I will pull up these levels for you guys right now. So I'm going to take the main range off the chart. I'm going to go ahead and pull up that other range that we were looking at yesterday. And I think if you guys tuned in yesterday, you will know this value area low sitting at about $83,586 is our next local key level of resistance. So if this money flow is going to give us the continuation up, guys, the goal here locally is to get above this value area low, hold above about $83,500 to $84,000. And then once we stay above here and we're able to flip this anchored VWAP, this is where I think we could potentially get a little bit bigger of a push to the upside into our golden pocket sitting at about $88,000, up into our POC at about $89,423. Now, obviously, this is in the context of the volume profile. So very simply put, if we hold above this level of support, basically the same thing as yesterday, we are going to be looking for a continuation into the golden pocket POC. And then once we break out above that POC, we can look to come into that 786 Fibonacci retracement. And at that point, guys, this is our big level of resistance, because as you can see, this this is sitting at about $91,000. And once we get up here, I will be treating this as a volume profile. If we get short confirmations up here, I will be looking for some shorts. However, if we're able to break out of this 786, guys, we would simultaneously be attempting to break into our larger range, which could potentially open the door for higher prices. Now, again, I don't want to get anybody too excited about a big bullish move coming in here. I'm simply just showing you the key levels of resistance above. But at the end of the day, that value area high is confluent with our macro value area low and our 786 Fibonacci retracement. So this will be an absolutely key level of resistance to flip to support if we want to see a bigger move up into the mid-90s, where we have another absolutely massive level of resistance. And we talked yesterday about how even if we did get this big move up to the golden pocket, we would have to be very, very cautious based off that two-day money flow continuing into the red here. If we see that two-day money flow continue into the red, maybe the green dot here, you can see we do have the green dot as well, technically a bullish divergence, but with money flow coming out, remember money flow indicates the overall trend, and it very rarely lies. So even if this two-day green dot gave us a bigger move up, I would have to look at it through the lens of a lackluster retracement. And if we were lucky enough to get a full retracement into this bigger golden pocket, this would be a huge level of resistance to potentially look for lower highs before maybe breaking structure back to the downside and continuing our overall downtrend. Now, that is the more bearish case. I have to bring this up, guys, because when money flow is coming out on the two-day like this, we have to anticipate the continuation to the downside, right? And again, with the green dot printing here, maybe we can get a short-term relief rally, but until we see this money flow come up on the higher time frames, we have to be very, very suspicious on any of these pushes to the upside. Again, going to be very careful within the local ranges as well. If I zoom back down in here to the lower time frames, you guys can see, right? Local golden pocket, local 786. These are also still very key levels of resistance because we don't know if we're going to come up in here, put in a lower high there, put in a lower high here to break structure to the downside. And I will be bringing up the lower levels that I'm looking at, which still remain the same, but I think it's important to go over that to let you guys know kind of those lower levels of support that I'm watching. But at the end of the day, guys, these are the local levels, volume profile, value area low, sitting at about 83,550. And then that next zone and on the golden pocket POC confluence is between about 88,000 and 89,638. And then that 786 value area high is sitting at about 91.2. And then remember, this is a very key level because we have that macro value area low in confluence. And if we can get above there, we might be able to come up for a little bit of a bigger move. But we got to get back in this range if we want to see that big move up, because if we cannot get back in here, guys, I'm going to break down even lower time frame levels that I will be looking at. So that's the local range, and then the macro range remains exactly the same. However, if I go ahead and hide this range here, I want to pull up some scalp levels for you guys. This is a new local range that I will be looking at, guys, because as we were looking to tap into the value area low of our range up here, we knew that we had a lot of liquidity sitting above this wick here, sitting at around $83,700 to $84,000. I'll even bring this up to show you. You can see the liquidity did start at about $83,700, leading us all the way up into about $84,425. We knew there was a possibility of getting a big liquidation wick into that liquidity, and you can see once we break in here, you can see that big liquidation wick. We did wind up getting some bearish confirmations here, which was the exact short setup that we were looking at in the premium Discord just before the stream yesterday. We were looking for that sweep of liquidity above, getting that SFP, and then looking for a move down to that golden pocket 786. And this just goes to show you guys the importance of waiting for your actual signals. You can see we did put in some slight bearish divergences here for a little pullback, but as always, the TA winds up playing out, and that liquidity does act as a magnet for price, so we wound up wiggling our way up there, getting the SFP for a beautiful short down to that exact Fibonacci retracement level that we were looking at, which was sitting here in confluence with the POC at about 81,120, all the way down to the 786 at about 80,100, and you can see we push right into that zone. Very nice that we're holding this level right now, guys, but in terms of the volume profile, I am going to be watching this because with the sweep of liquidity, with some of the bearish divergences, and specifically the 4-hour red dot that might be looking to print here, guys. This 4-hour VWAP has been above the zero line for quite some time, so this eventually is very likely to come down and print a red dot. So I do want to see what this red dot gives us, and if it is able to give us a push down, I will be looking at this local volume profile. If we break back down below this value area high, which sits at about 82,721, I will be looking for a drop back down to the POC. Lose that POC, we can potentially come down to that golden pocket sitting at about 79.5, all the way down into that value area low 786 confluence, which is sitting between about 78,764 and 78,188. So locally, for the kind of choppy price action for the scalp positions, guys, I am looking at this local range, and if we do just wind up coming up here and heating above these highs, we very nicely have that volume profile sitting up above here. So if we do wind up kind of just bing-bonging around and ranging in here, I will be looking at the local profile that I just showed. If we break out of there, right, and I'll be honest with you guys, with this 2-hour money flow, I am somewhat neutral here, just kind of taken the scalps, guys, jumping in, grabbing my bag, and jumping out recently. Other than holding my long here from the low, I will be holding that trade, but other than that, I am kind of just scalping up this chop. But if we do break out of that local range, we'll look to flip that larger volume profile to support and then see if we can get that bigger push above that anchored VWAP into our bigger level up here, about $88,000 to about $89,500. So those are the local levels I'm looking at. I don't really see a situation, guys, where we get like a massive rip to the upside that we really have to pay much attention to the upper range here, right, starting at 91K, but it is important to understand that, right? So we do have kind of a series of ranges that I'm looking at. So hopefully we can break up in here, fill this range in full, flip that value area high, get back in here. But again, I do think that is wishful thinking at this point. Now, before I let you guys go, I do want to cover the bearish case here because, again, we are still pretty far away. We're about 9.5% away from that macro value area low. That's why I like to bring up these local levels because there is plenty of money to be had in here as you scalp and day trade these local levels. Now, if we get a bigger move to the downside, like I said, daily bullish divergence is a nice sign, right? Money flow coming up on the 80 and 90 minute at the same time as that daily bull div is even better. We have the 2-day green dot. There's a lot of things that could potentially squeeze us up here, but we have to keep our eyes open for a potential move down based off the bearish environment that we're sitting in right now. So if we were to see more of that bearish case play out, guys, obviously we would get sucked back into this range, go to the POC, see if we could fill that range in full. Once we start losing this low here, guys, this value area low /786 Fibonacci retracement, sure, maybe I could look to scalp at these lows. However, once you start losing this value area low 786, guys, this is where I would be looking to take the lows from Monday here at about $76,425 into our next major key level of resistance that we front ran on this last move up. We caught that nice long position in the premium Discord, which now has played out to technical final TP. I am still holding a portion of this if this does continue to run, just to give you guys a little idea of what I'm looking at, because I do like to keep you guys updated on how I manage these trades. If this does continue to play out, I'm simply just going to look up towards our larger profile, and I will look to bring that up into the POC, right? Because we've already come up. The original TP for that trade was on the value area low. If we break out, flip that level to support, I would simply be looking to get gravitated towards that golden pocket to be a little bit more conservative for a full 11.5% move on that long position. I'm already up a few grand on that trade with profits locked in, stop loss to entry. So this is a guaranteed winning trade. Whether we come up or come down, I will make money. But if we do come up in here, obviously that'd be favorable for the long. And my next target would be the golden pocket at about 88K. But if we do get that drop to the downside, guys, this is the key level. Lose that 786 at about 78.2. I will be looking at taking the lows here from Monday into our next major level of key support, which is going to be sitting right down here with our daily naked point of control 786 and weekly naked point of control confluence. This is definitely going to be that next major level coming down to, $74,000, getting pretty dang close to that $74,000 mark. And this would be that next big zone I'd be looking at. But that 786 is going to be the line in the sand. Once we lose that, I'm looking to take that liquidity because although we did take a lot of this liquidity, guys, we've covered this so many times on the live stream. We have taken a good bit of that liquidity, but we do still have some below this wick leading us into that key level of support. And I'll be honest, guys, although it's not impossible to continue up here, I don't like that we just swept liquidity here and front ran all that support. I really would have preferred to push into these key levels of support for a bigger move to the upside, which is why I am still being a little bit careful with the long position. But if it stops us out, we'll stop out in profit. Shorts will continue to pay us out down to this level. And I will just bring up the doomsday level if you have not been watching the live streams, just so you guys know, if we do get the bigger drop down and we do not hold that weekly naked point of control at about 74.9, I would definitely be looking down here to about $72,000 to $70,000. I don't know if we're going to come directly down there, but those are the next key levels of support. I want you guys to be aware of these levels on the way down, right? If we do continue, I will be very, very, very careful looking at the daily and the weekly naked point of control, bringing you down to 74.9. And then once you lose that, we're looking at the top of this golden pocket at 72K. Lose that, we're looking down to the value area high, daily naked point of control, and that POC. These are levels we've been looking at for quite some time. And again, I don't necessarily expect seeing these in the next day, but if we did, I want you guys to know those key levels of support are down there. So if we do wind up getting them drop down our local profile, we lose the lows, take that liquidity into our key level of support here. I will be looking for bounces. If we don't get bullish confirmations, I will look for the bigger move down to the golden pocket, value area high, daily naked point of control, and POC, sitting between about $72,000 and $70,000. Now, hopefully we don't have to pay attention too much to all this garbage down here just yet. Hopefully we can just keep it nice and simple. Look within this profile. If we break out, I'll simply hide this local profile and pull up the one above, which will give us a beautiful, beautiful guide on where price is likely to go next. Just trading those local ranges, making money whether price goes up or down with the premium Discord, and we're going to keep crushing those trades until we get this next move up here. I hope that daily bull div gives us a big move up, guys. The long will continue to pay us out, but I did just want to cover those lower levels for you guys so you're fully prepared. So daily bull div, money flow coming up on the 80 and 90 minute. Those are our tickets to the upside. 2-day green dot as well. But if we do just keep getting hammered down here, you guys have that local volume profile that I'll be looking at and the line in the sand before we see that bigger drop down to those next major key levels of support. So with all that being said, guys, I think that's all the time I got for today's update. Sorry for no live stream tonight, but I do have some really important stuff to take care of. So with all that being said, guys, good luck out there. Pray for Bitcoin. Let's hope we can send this thing to the upside. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. We'll be back to our regular schedule, 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on the Frank Candles YouTube channel. That's all I got. Frankie Candles out.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the road, here we go, yeah, we winning by a landslide.